What's up everyone, this is Robin Hood right here and welcome to the channel. Today I'm here to talk about one of the greatest and most underrated anime of all time, Yu Hakusho. Yu Hakusho's anime is based off Yoshihiro Togashi's manga, and the anime run went from about 1992 to 1994, running up with about 112 episodes. In my opinion, it is one of the most underappreciated and super underrated animes out there, considering it's the granddaddy, the grandfather of most of the shonen action animes that you see today. You know, from your typical high school boy, your typical teenage boy, you know, conquering so many obstacles, the training, the development, the power, the relationships, the struggles, you know, the pain, and the problems that our heroes have to tackle, you know, throughout in most animes today. The anime starts off with a high school boy named Yusuke. You know, to me, he's one of the most iconic characters out there in the Shonen Jump, which you've seen him, you know, in the recent Jump Force video games and all that stuff. But to me, I cannot see any way that you can dislike or even just credit and appreciate this anime's action and its sequences and its even choreography and creativity around it. Now that's how much I really recommend this and how much I want everyone to just witness the greatness around this anime. Now at this time, obviously the merchandising has gone down a lot ever since then, and you know, they released some OVAs. I think they've released some 2 OVAs recently, just to give some tribute, give some flashbacks to those long diehard fans like myself who just can't help but put a smile on our face and just want to crave us a little bit more. But at the same time, I understand how it goes. You don't want to milk this type of things, and that's something that I really appreciate in this anime is, you know, they didn't really milk it and they just went for it. They just did everything with a passion and just delivered each and every arc to this highest potential and never held back or, you know, save it for later type of, you know, mentality. Hey, it wouldn't be a legit shonen anime if it doesn't have any of those heartwarming love, pure love presence in that anime, which is obviously Yusuke's lover Keiko, which I reckon, in my opinion, impacted more in the beginning and at the end time of the anime, but it also develops right throughout the anime as well. So it's something that's there to, you know, one of the motivations that is to protect his loved ones, but it's also there to, you know, to give Yusuke a bit more depth, and rather than just his, you know, his strong demeanor, it gives him that soft spot that you really gets exposed, you know, in tough times especially. And sometimes, you know, it's not all about just working hard. And personally, my favorite character is Hiei. I just love how much he has developed as well. I mean, he has, personally, I feel like he has one of the best powers out there. You know, the Juggernaut eyes it's a bit out there for me, but once he started releasing that black dragons and whipping around on everyone, laying the smackdown on everyone, that's when I really realized, yeah, this is my dude, this is my dude. The 2 main settings in this anime is the living world and the demon world. So in terms of the living world, they usually have the high school, the city that Yusuke and his friends live, and also the demon world is all the tournaments, the clans, and all the history, you know, behind the lore of the Yu Hakusho. In those different settings, you'll be able to see not just the life of the living world in comparison to the demon world, but it also shows, you know, the history between, you know, the 2 settings. The supporting characters in this throughout the whole series provided great value as well. On top of Keiko, you know, Yusuke's romance, you know, there's also Botan, who's started off as his advisor and develops in becoming like a sister to Yusuke and the whole gang, really. There's so many layers out there for them as well. Shows the care and the support for one another throughout these tough challenges that they go through. It wouldn't be a straight up anime shonen anime if it wasn't for a good sensei. I know that rhymed, but you know, that's just the way it is. I just spit bars in here, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, back to it. Genkai, history, check. Powers, check. Motives, check. Support, check. Powers, I just said powers, I know that. But anyway, Genkai, she provides so much, you know, the dedication, the love, the care is there for Yusuke and the gang as well. It's a lot of heartfelt, touching moments in her, you know, in her side story, in her art, in her motives, her motivation to train Yusuke and to you know, to be his mentor throughout this whole journey with him. The story starts off with a high school boy named Yusuke, who's unfortunately starts off with him dying. So that's no spoilers. That's episode 1. That's when his streak just dies off in the anime, just kills him right off for our protagonist. Now that's something that a lot of animes have done something, you know, as out there, as risky. I'd like to make it so creative, but back at that time, that was so unique, and you know, it impacts especially like young boys like me when I was watching it at that time. Now, after his untimely death, after saving a young boy's life, he has been given the chance to, you know, reevaluate, reassess his life. You know, he's your typical very out there shonen type of hero that causes ruckus, joking around all the time. His teachers hated him, a lot of his schoolmates dislike him, but his death has actually shown so much realization, and he didn't realize how much he's actually impacted everyone, especially, you know, his family, his single mom who's been taking care of him, his friends like Kiko and Kuwabara, who would become, you know, one of his, not just his best mates, but his fighting buddies there moving forward as well. Is the realization of him that he never thought that he would impact that many people in his short life already, which gives him that motivation then to pursue this chance that he's been given to his soul to recollect him, but to come back after he's proven himself, is to come back as one of the soul detectives out there moving forward. After he has proven his worth, he will go on some missions, you know, battle some bad guys, some great encounters out there without spoiling too much. A lot of interesting abilities with villains, and there are a lot of varieties and challenges they have to go through. As he goes into these type of adventures, it's gonna be pretty tough for just one person to do all this stuff. So he will bump into, like I said before, Kuwabara with his infamous spirit sword. But to be honest, if you've known the anime for that long, you'll probably more know him for his personality, very loud and very expressive personality out there, compared to the other two that he would meet across his journey and across his missions throughout the living world. Is Hiei, who's got so much history that you can layer by layer. You start to see it, and it unfolds the more you watch through all the anime through the very end. Who's come from a very interesting background, and you know, his powers, his demonic powers that possess within him, the Jurgen eyes, and along with his, you know, his best buddy there, Kurama. It starts off with just him in a rose whip. I'm like, rose whip? I'm like, oh, that's cool. Alright, I see that. Okay, that's cool. But boy, you don't even know what's coming yet as soon as you peel off more of the layers of their history and stuff, and you see his actual history before all these old times. But you know, that's something for you to uncover from the demon fox, maybe. I don't know, just saying. Something that I wanna pay close attention to this review is the animation. The animation here deserves so much credit. To this day, it still counts as one of the best looking anime in my opinion. It definitely, you know, withstood through the test of time, just with the effort. And you know, it's not just one of them action animes. Of course, there's balls to the wall action all over this series, and that's what it's famous for. But something that puts more attention is every hit, every punch, kick, you know, even when they're jumping, doing all these circus acts and, you know, tricks and whatnot, they're allowed to like modify their body in a very unconventional way that you make it aesthetically pleasing and just makes you feel it. Like every punch, like their face would just curve, every kick their legs would extend, so you really feel like it's coming. Like you feel like the emotions in the fight, you feel the hits, and that makes it so immersive and so impactful when it comes to these scenes. Now let's talk about the action. Like I said, Yu Yu Hakusho is one of the granddaddy of them all when it comes to that balls to the wall action. So when it comes to just going for it, no holding back, just going for it, this is one of them animes that really started it. I mean, of course, this is a Fist of the Northern Star and all those crazy animes prior, but this is obviously one of the great successes that led and kept that tradition moving forward to this day. The violence is there. Man, the violence is there, that's for sure. Now, tournament arcs is definitely something very common in the shonen anime these days. From Naruto, to My Hero Academia and all that. It creates it's a great staple to see how strong has the character become and how do they really test their strength, our character's strength in a fair battle, well, for most of them anyway, to see how they really progressed and how much they've learned, how much abilities they can use, how much experience they can gain from all these challenges. But for me, to this day as well, the greatest tournament arc is in this anime. Ladies and gentlemen, it would stay, the battles in this tournament would stay in your life forever. Okay, I mean, like, not all of them, but there's definitely iconic moments here once you've seen it that will stay with you for a very, very long time. Every single villain, no matter how, there's some stupid ones in there, there's some crazy ones, there's some out there ones, there's some interesting ones. But one thing I guarantee is every battle has sense of uniqueness to it. It's not just a matter of just powering up. The villains, just gets more powered up and just goes from there. This one, it's not just power levels and all that. Of course, there's a lot of battles are determined by that, but it's the abilities of not just our own main characters, but also the villains. For example, there's some guys that can manipulate different elements like wind, ice, hell, even video games. It shows how crazy it is out there. From poison, bombs, all that sort of jazz. So it's not just a matter of just powering up, but it's also thinking right out of the box to beat your opponent. So that's something I personally loved in the beginning of Naruto, which obviously disappeared a little bit later on. But in here, it creates that good balance in not just those, hard punches and hard spirit waves and all that stuff. While some shonen animes, the more you progress, the more the more you progress through the episodes, the more our characters develop and all that stuff. But in Yu Yu Hakusho, it's not just developing as well, but it's also learning more about the history of our characters, learning more about their past, the unknowns that they have, the questions, answer the questions that they've had as well moving forward. So what's so good about this anime is the more they develop as well, the story actually goes deeper and deeper and deeper, going through their past. Like I said before, without spoiling too much, like especially the final arc of this, you think you know Yusuke, you think you know all these characters, then it makes you go like, wow, okay, let's go, let's find out more about these guys, because they always have something up their sleeve that makes you wonder, like, what, hey, how, what is that? Hey, hang on, what's that? Hey, oh, okay. Then that gives you that motivation to push through, which makes me want to talk about the pacing. Long animes of today, they can milk it, fillers, all that stuff. Obviously, it's a business in the end as well for the anime makers, and it's about business minded how they can market all this stuff. But at that time for Yu Yu Hakusho, although there's some slow bits here and there, but the pacing throughout for me personally is one of the greatest, especially for shonen anime. It's up in there as one of the faster paced anime. I mean, if you think about it, a couple of arcs there, 112 episodes sold. Compared to the animes these days, the big shonen animes, that's like, a grain of salt these days, being exaggerated obviously, but something I can definitely recommend that you can binge and something that you can definitely worth investing your time running through this, just pushing through these episodes. In terms of my personal experience with this anime, it is easily one of the most iconic, most remarkable animes in my, that I have seen in my life so far. Now, I can go as far as saying Yu Hakusho is made me one of the bigger anime fan that I am today right now. One of the first few animes out there that held the key and just opened the doors for me. What anime really brings to the table, especially in the shonen area, with with a story that is so compelling and so motivating for you to just know and just push through to develop more, to the action that just delivers each and every time, that still so underappreciated. So you have so many top 10 battles out there of the list for shonen animes right now, and people forget. I'll just drop a name out there, Toguro. Man, that's a bad man. That's a bad man. Yeah, Toguro, Yusuke fight in that tournament, one of the greatest of all time. Yeah, that's for sure. It is definitely one of the grandfathers of all these great shonen animes for us, which includes the Dragon Ball Z, your Naruto's, your Bleach, your One Piece, your My Heroes. Time for us to appreciate something like Yu Hakusho, delivered time and time again at those times in the 90s, and definitely one of the most amazing anime you can ever watch. I mean, I've talked it up pretty much the whole anime. I know this is a review, and I'm supposed to say my pros and cons. So sure, there's some cons in there. I've said a lot of pros, obviously. I've said all pros. There's some cons in there, jokes and might not land at times, or the plots, makes it a bit iffy at times, the motives of the villains and all that stuff. But in the end, overall, as a package in itself, it's definitely it's sad for me to say that it's even like a hidden gem these days if you haven't watched it. But it's one of those most impactful and most awesome and just crazy good animes that people really need to watch. So, as for my rating system goes, I would give this an S, yeah? A super S. Sugoi type of S. In my rankings, that's like a 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, whatever you want to call it. Gold medal, gold trophy, whatever you want to call it. Everybody, you just gotta get into it, find your hands up, whether it's from a Blu-ray or I'm not sure what subscription it is right now. Definitely get your set or something. It's worth that collection type of anime. It's time for us to pay tribute and to witness this super underrated, super underappreciated anime, which is Yu Hakusho, and join the love of Yusuke and his fellow ghost fighters. Thanks for your time, guys. Really appreciate it. If you could drop us a like, comment down below, and subscribe. Hit that bell button for notifications. Stay in tune. Let's start creating this great community and join me in my journey around here. This is Robin Hood, and it's over and out.